what I meant is I think this is one of those things where even if you work in the industry, in the business, you have to go back and look because it's a new playoff format. I think sometimes we forget that the advantage to winning the division but not being a top 2 seed, is there some value? Sure, because you'll have all 3 of those games at your home park, at Busch Stadium. But you're still technically in whatever we're calling that round, the wild card round.
Here's the easiest way to look at it, outside of the fact that it's a series, is that now it kind of looks like the old NFL format. 2 byes, for the top teams that are there. The team that does stay home gets to play all of their games at home, so that's a benefit. But it still comes down to team construction, right? And this is me and Charlie talking about this at the last break. I mean, there's a chance you could run it back against the Brewers. And I've just never been a big fan of playing a team you've played that many times in the playoffs, because there's no shock and awe to it. There's no ability to say, hey, we haven't seen them as many times, and to get what you can that usually comes with the home field advantage. The Brewers aren't going to be worried about coming in and playing in Busch Stadium. They're still going to have Corbin Burns. They're still going to be able to throw a great rotation out there. And I would rather see the Cardinals get away from the division some. But, some of that is just the chips falling the way they will for you.
I bet you, I got to look at the odds, but doesn't it feel like another year where the Padres are just going to lose their spot? It just feels like that.
You mean the Clippers of baseball?
It happened last year.
Bad karma with all
and
that
then
stuff.
You had the bad karma with Tatis.
Yeah, man.
And I know they didn't respond right off the bat with Soto and all that. It just feels like another year where you could see the Padres having another collapse and losing that playoff spot in the final week.
Yeah,
That sucks, though, because I like when teams go all in, and I want them to be competitive. I do.
Well, you got 2 all-in teams that are going to be the ones that are missing the first round, so maybe there's something to that. The Mets and the Dodgers ain't playing. No, the Cardinals are going to play in the first round of the playoffs.
Yes.
They're not catching the Mets. They're not catching the Dodgers. That's just not happening. So at this point, the intrigue is the A1 to win the NL Central. I think that there should be no reason for them not to do that, especially with the schedule that's coming up over the beginning of of September. But now it's about, you got to pay attention to what everybody else is doing, too, because you want the best outcome. I personally would rather play the Phillies, I would think. That would be, there's not really a pitcher on that team that I look at and I say, oh, man, that's going to be a tough one. I'd rather have the Phillies come in here and deal with them.
Nola.
Yeah, those guys are, it's not.
Tim Wheeler?
It's not. I think that Corbin Burns is way better than either one of them. When I look at a 3-game series, you want to have a chance to say, I got a shot at every one of them.
Yeah.
And you got Wainwright pitching at home, different team. The Cardinals are one of the best home teams in all of baseball.
Do we start Montgomery in Game 3?
Well, I don't know. I know you're having the feels about Montgomery right now.
Him.
Oh, he loves Montgomery.
He's awesome.
Well, you mean Flaherty Game 1 then, right?
Uh-oh.
Is his thumb okay?
Are we playing it on PlayStation or at Busch Stadium?
If Flaherty is right, they'll probably give the first couple games to Michaelis and Waino. But if you have 3 games, if Flaherty proves to be healthy over the next month, you want to skip that man in a 3-game series? I wouldn't.
I think some of it comes down to who you're throwing against, though, too.
Maybe you bring him out of the pen, but if Jack Flaherty's healthy,
you got to pitch. Yeah,
he's pitching in that 3-game series.
Let's be fair. I'm not going to shovel dirt on top of Jack Flaherty. If he's healthy, he's out there and he's throwing. He's one of the absolute best options you got. Because one thing that the Cardinals don't have still that you need in the playoffs is you need to miss bats. In the playoffs, you want to take down the opportunity for it to get in play, even when you got some of the guys they've got back there. And he's going to absolutely be the best swing and miss option you got. But, it all depends on how he comes back. He's going to get an opportunity against some of the bottom feeders in the league when they comes back in early September. They've got series with the Cubs and the Reds and the Nationals and all of that. But I don't know. It'd be hard-pressed for me the way he's thrown so far for me to not want to put Montgomery in the playoff rotation. And that's part of the reason why you go get guys, right?
Oh, and they're all going to pitch. As we discussed yesterday, the off-day situation, especially in the NLDS and the NLCS, is going to test your entire pitching staff. Probably 5 starters, your entire bullpen. You don't have off days like in previous years. Mm-hmm. But if that first series, which it's 3 games, to me, Flaherty's pitching in that series if he's healthy. Now, maybe it's out of the pen. I think you'd go Michaelis, Waino. I don't know. I'd probably want to use Flaherty before. Like, if you lose your first 2 games, I would not want to sit there saying, hey, I didn't throw a healthy Jack Flaherty in this series.
Well, I think that also when you look at playoff pitching, though, I mean, in today's day and age, I mean, you're looking at 3 innings. You're maybe looking at 4 innings. You don't want a guy to go through a rotation twice. So, I mean, you throw him out there and you just give him the best look, and then you move into the next guy. I mean, that's the benefit of having potentially 7 guys that you can throw out there. I think that Palante could be a guy that could be a good bridge guy in there that can pitch 4th, 5th, maybe 6th inning too, and you don't have to lean on your bullpen so heavily.
Gio's like, can the Cardinals make a deep run? Do they have enough depth to make it past the Mets, the Phillies, the Dodgers, etc.? Who's the X factor?
For the old Redbirds, I have a hot take here.
Go ahead, baby.
Now, we'll see what happens with Clayton Kershaw. But I think even though the Dodgers are unbelievable, great lineup, if you look at the way the Cardinals, and this is looking more towards an NLDS or an NLCS, but the Cardinals team OPS, the last I looked, it was yesterday, something around 75 points higher versus lefties. The Dodgers are going to throw, if Kershaw's healthy, most likely 3 lefties against you. Urias, Anderson, and probably Clayton Kershaw. Walker Buehler's out for the year. So the Cardinals mash lefties. I think for the Cardinals offense, you have a much better matchup versus the Dodgers, for example, than the Mets, who are going to throw ace righties at you.
Oh.
They're going to throw DeGrom, Scherzer, Bassett, and then if healthy, you have Taijuan Walker, you have Cookie Carrasco. They have just right-handed starters, and the Cardinals are so much better across the board against lefties.
I think that also that's a great point. I think that puts Pujols into play more. It definitely helps Arenado out for sure. And, but the thing about the Dodgers that I like more about is that, you got to get to that first run of that rotation, but it's not a bullpen that I personally would be overly worried about. It's kind of been their heel the entire year, trying to work out who's going to go into that space. Meanwhile, the Mets have got Edwin Diaz, who's been throwing the ball around. They've got options down there. I don't know. It's hard for me to believe in the Mets are better than the Dodgers, but I think for a matchup with the Cardinals, I agree. I think it's better to go through L.A.
And it would probably be different in a different year with more off days, but it does have the feeling that the Dodgers could be that team that's much better in the regular season. But if you're able to get a hot Scherzer and DeGrom, those guys could mow through a playoff multiple series.
Sir Nathaniel, what are you thinking? What are you looking up back there?
I'm a little worried about what the Braves are doing right now. They look like the team to beat in the National League. The Dodgers were dealt a blow earlier this week with the news of Walker Buehler. The Padres, obviously, last week hitting the Tatis news. Mets, I would not want to face the Mets, to be honest with you, with the 3-headed monster of Scherzer, DeGrom, and Bassett. But Atlanta is just damn good. And they keep bringing up all these young guys. They keep performing. Yesterday, they gave another young guy a $75 million extension. And they don't really miss on those. They haven't, at least. So the Braves look darn good. They got that championship pedigree, too.
Yeah, they do.
And the thing about it is the Braves made that run last year without Acuna for the most part. I mean, so there's...
Dude, they're doing it this year without Ozzie Albies.
Right. I mean, listen, the Braves are managing their payroll, managing what they need to do as good as anybody. That's why I think next weekend is going to be such a big, just paramount series for it. And hopefully you've got good vibes going on, but I mean, you got Hall of Fame weekend, you got a lot going on, but man, the Cardinals got to show and prove in that, and it would be a good idea. I would like to see the best of the best go against each other. Mike Soroka's coming back for that team. I mean, they're trending in the right way.
I also think you have with the Braves. I wonder sometimes some of those young players they have agents. They have agents that are working on their behalf. Some of these deals. Now this Michael Harris deal, I get it if you're him.
Yeah.
Because he's played like what? 70 games in the big leagues? He was in Double-A. So for that man to go from Double-A to a guaranteed $72 million, potentially $100 million with options, you take that deal. Mm-hmm. However, the Braves deals for Acuna and Albies. I know Albies has been banged up, and so has Acuna, to be fair. But those are ridiculous hometown discounts.
Yeah.
If you look at the Acuna deal, I understand it's hard to turn away $100 million. That dude, when healthy, is probably worth $40 million a year in free agency.